You know guys, after riding this ZX4RR around on street, on track, I got to thinking the top end of this motorcycle feels a little flat, if I'm gonna be honest. So today, I'm gonna be taking this ZX4RR and putting it on a dyno. We're gonna see what kind of power a stock ZX4RR is putting to the ground. We're gonna head up to AF1 here in Austin, get it on the dyno, and see what's going on. Now, I've done nothing to this motorcycle. It is bone stock. The only thing I've done is ride and enjoy it on street and on track. I also famously removed the muffler and saw how loud it was without it, but that didn't do anything to the bike. So I really am curious, what kind of power is it doing? 50, 60, 70 horsepower to the wheel? And then after we do all that, we're gonna come back here and talk about what we're gonna do to ameliorate some of those issues. Now remember, this ZX4RR is a giveaway motorcycle. Head over to yamanoob.co and get your entries to win this machine. Pick out anything you want, a t-shirt, hat, gear, tires, helmets, anything you need, you'll get entries to win this bike. You can also become a member, join our amazing Discord server, get access to exclusive behind the scenes content and more, and you'll rack up your entries to win this machine. Don't miss it. Now let's get the keys on this bike and let's go take it up to the dyno. What makes it different again on your dyno?
It's doing true rear wheel versus the crank horsepower.
Yeah. But versus like another dyno, why is y'all's even lower?
Because the way they measure everything, they're just measuring it from the crank, is my understanding, right, Jess?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
the way it's calculated is different from Dynojet.
Okay.
Most common dynos are Dynojet.
Yeah.
And so those are most of the numbers that you see. Dynojet numbers.
Okay.
Versus this one is a Mustang dyno is the brand.
Cool. On the clutch.
Like every other motorcycle.
Yeah. No, it's okay. It's your first day. It's fine. Ready. Ah, that's a cool chalk. Is that custom? That's really nice. I've never seen one that goes like all the way around like that. It's cool.
You've been riding this thing, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, we've taken it on track twice already.
Cool. Which one?
Eagles Canyon Raceway.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only one I haven't been to.
Yeah, it's amazing. You should definitely check it out sometime. We brought this bike out because we're really curious to see how stock compared to our race bike, and the power feels like pretty much the same as our race bike stock. So I was like, that's pretty good, but I know these will make like 70 something with the flash and all that.
Okay.
So yeah, it was fun to test it out.
Has nothing been done to this one yet?
Bone stock.
Okay.
You guys are pretty much the only dyno in Austin, right?
I think so.
As far as I know, yeah. What bike has set the record here for most power?
Probably we had a Panigale, one of the new
V4Rs or whatever,
something like that, and then we were pushing 200 horsepower on this dyno, which
That's
means
sick.
that you're like probably 230
Yeah.
or so, which is
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
That is. Yeah, I might have to come back and visit you guys because I've got a fully built H2 that I've always wanted to see what it'll do on the dyno.
That
the
would
builders,
probably be up
yeah,
there.
the builder said that it on E85 it does 330 at the wheel, but we're running pump gas now just because I hate dealing with the 85, so we dialed it way back. All right guys, so we've got the ZX4 here on the dyno. Chaz from AF1 is getting it all set up. He has to basically teach the dyno this motorcycle. He has to show the wheel speed versus RPM, kind of get a couple things set up before we do a power check run. Very excited to see what kind of results we get, but don't want you guys to think it's gonna be too much because it's probably not gonna be that much. flat on its face at
Yes,
the top
it
end.
does, man. That's kind of wild.
Yeah, that's that stock tune. My God.
We're sitting at 51, 52 horsepower.
Yeah, we're at that 51 and a third. No, 50, yeah, 52. Yeah, that's interesting because that top end, that's really where everyone online is saying like the flash is going to help because like, yeah, it just goes.
It does, man. That's wild.
That's at what RPM?
11.5. So you still got.
Oh my God, so much more.
3,000 RPM.
Yeah. Way more to go.
That would be cool to see that thing keep rising.
Yeah.
I assume you have plans to do stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to get the run today and then literally I'm going to take it back and pop off the ECU and ship it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to get that done.
And then
cool.
I'm assuming you'll be back.
I will, yeah. I want to see the gains, yeah.
Cool.
Very cool. What else can you tell me about the kind of like graph we're seeing here?
So the torque is down here. There's also a snipper that we can set up to read air-fuel ratio that doesn't currently function.
Oh, okay.
And so it's kind of one of these lines. It's just a made-up line that's not so much.
Gotcha.
There's really not. The main one's here, the horsepower.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just trailing off so much after 11,000 RPM. That's crazy. Because it's an inline four, it should just keep making power all the way to the tippy top, but yeah, it
torque
doesn't.
Looks all right.
Yeah, it's pretty flat, not bad. Looked like all three runs were relatively consistent.
Yeah, they were all the same. Maybe we can compare.
Yeah, can you pull up like a ZX6?
Yeah. Hey, there's one. There's a 03 ZX6.
Yeah.
Compared to the ZX4.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see it just keeps rising all the way to that, that red line. And yeah, it's like you can tell they very artificially just kind of like capped it there. It would be interesting. I wonder if we had the AFR thing working, you could probably see the air-to-fuel ratio changing at that point, right? Because that's what would cause power to dip so much.
No, maybe. I think it's more of emissions.
Oh, that makes sense.
Mainly for probably sound.
Yeah.
At that high RPM, and they probably have cut back on the power.
Yeah.
To reduce, so it'll pass the Euro 5. So.
Yeah. I've heard that the throttle blades are also tuned to not fully open and stuff like that. So, yeah, they're doing all kinds of stuff to make it be able to be sold in today's markets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So send your ECU off and undo all that.
Yeah, because 51 horsepower will not do out of a little 400cc inline four. We need more than that. All right, guys, so some disappointing results from the dyno, but kind of expected. This has already been documented, but I wanted to double check that the ZX4RR does not in fact make the full power it's supposed to be making. So what the hell is going on? Kawasaki claims that this motorcycle is making 76 horsepower at 14,500 RPM and 80 horsepower with the ram air effect. That's the little ram air going into the bike there at speed, and 26.4 foot-pounds of torque at that peak RPM as well. So if you assume a 12% drivetrain loss at the tire, we should expect to see 67 wheel horsepower stock on this motorcycle and about 23 foot-pounds of torque. In reality, as we saw, we had 51.9 horsepower peak and 23.5 foot-pounds. So the torque is there. We're pretty much right on the money in terms of what we expect, but the horsepower is way, way off. So, as you guys saw in the dyno chart, after about 11,000 RPM, there's nobody home. There's a lot of ignition mapping, throttle mapping, all kinds of wizardry for emissions. The Kawasaki pretty much just flatlines this bike after 11,000 RPM. And the seat of the pants experience when riding this bike confirms that. You get it up in the RPM, and it's, you know, it's spinning some high RPMs, but you don't feel like the bike is pulling you any faster than it was at 10 or 11,000 RPM. So what's going on? We have a weak throttle map. I've actually looked up a bunch of videos about this before I made today's video, and the boys over at Two Wheel Dyno Works has a pretty comprehensive video showing everything that's wrong with this ECU map from a performance perspective. Kawasaki obviously made this ECU so that it could sell this bike in the United States, meet emissions compliance, and have a motorcycle that would be good for all those reasons. But for our purposes, which is peak performance, we're not quite there yet. So a very weak throttle map, a lot of emissions compliance. As I mentioned, flatlining after 11,000 RPM, completely falling apart on its face. The flash is going to include ignition timing updates, make the motorcycle a little bit more spicy, and making sure the throttle blades are actually fully open, which I believe they are not, and it's a common issue on new EFI bikes. Throttle blades aren't fully open, the ignition timing is a little weak, and the throttle map is a little weak as well. So we're fully expecting to see about 70 70 to 72 wheel horsepower after we get this motorcycle flashed, which is our next step. So as I put down here, time to flash it, baby. So what I'm gonna be doing is off camera because it's a little bit boring. I'm gonna be pulling the ECU, shipping it out to the boys over at Two Wheel Dyno Works, getting this motorcycle flashed, and then we're gonna be performance testing it all over once again. We're gonna be in the 0 to 60, the top speed, the seat of the pants feeling, and dyno testing it all again after it's been flashed and ready to go. We're also gonna then take it back on track and see if it's any better or faster than the previous times we were able to get. And spoiler alert, I think it's gonna be pretty sweet. So guys, that's gonna wrap up today's video on dyno testing the ZX4RR. Remember, it is a giveaway motorcycle. Head over to yamanoob.co, pick out anything you want, a hat, a t-shirt, parts, gear, anything. You'll get entries to win. You can also become a member, and that's gonna be the best way to get your entries. You'll also get 10% off on everything you order. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. See you later.
Keep watching.